I had raced on Friday night right over in Richmond, Virginia at Southside Speedway. Ran terrible. My dad even came to the racetrack that night, and we had Sadler Chevrolet, the car dealership, advertised on the car. He was over there trying to pull my name off the car. If you ain't gonna run no better than this,
you ain't gonna have my name on there.
It's my name too, but it didn't matter.
No, I gave you that name.
So he's over there trying to pull off the sticker.
Welcome into another exciting edition of Up On Game Presents Conversations with a Legend. This week, NASCAR Legend Hermie Sadler. All right, now, Hermie, I got to tell you, I generally do NFL legends. But now I've had the honor and the privilege of going outside of the category of football and getting into the category of race car driving and having your brother Elliot and yourself on the show. So you're making history for my show. I appreciate that. Talk to me about what Hermie has going on right now post-racing career, because you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be on with you.
It's a pleasure.
LaVar, and gotten to know you recently and really appreciate what you are and how you go about your business, and the crusade we're on kind of together. Indeed. In a lot of ways. But yeah, my family business, or our family business, is convenience stores, truck stops, and restaurants. I've been active in the family business for 20 plus years, but retired from Fox TV as an analyst for the NASCAR coverage at the end of 2019, and kind of stepped into the role of the family business. Yep. So we look after that, and then outside of that, my wife and I, we're sitting in our sports bar in Emporia, Virginia. It's called,
and it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I love the name.
Faux Show. I'll tell you in a minute how this place was named.
All right. Okay.
But so outside of that, my wife and I, really my wife, runs the day-to-day operations of Faux Show, the 24-hour restaurant at the truck stop, the UPS store. We've got an IHOP and Skipper's and another convenience store. So all told together, we look after about 300 employees, which is a lot of responsibility.
A lot.
We're responsible for those that payroll every 2 weeks.
Yes.
But we don't take lightly the responsibility of taking care of people and their families and that. So we're in the convenience store, truck stop, restaurant business. We have transport trucks that service our locations, and we sell fuel to other locations. We also, which is probably my favorite part of our business, we handle our local farmers and loggers. We deliver fuel to them in the logwoods or on their farms and things like that. So we're really ingrained into the community. Our family business is over 60 years old, and now I have a lot of responsibility, which I enjoy, of trying to maintain and grow that business when I can. But I did 25 years on the road. I know you know what life on the road is like.
Yes.
But having 3 daughters and a wife looking after all this, I've really enjoyed the last couple of years being home more, being more involved not only in our business but also in the community.
3 lovely daughters. I've met 2 out of the 3 so far. Super impressed. Met the missus.
Yep.
Super impressed. Hermie.
The good thing about my daughters, they got my good looks, personality, and athletic ability.
Wow.
So what could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. Absolutely.
It's up to them. They got all the tools.
It's up to them.
It's up to them.
That is
I've done my part.
You have done your part.
I've done my part.
They are beautiful girls.
Thank you so much.
Certain.
Thank you.
Speaking of beautiful girls, you've done your part.
You like that, don't you?
Yes, I do. You have built successful business. You were successful in NASCAR. What makes Hermie tick? Like what did you come from that gives you the mindset to approach what you do and how you do it the way that you do it?
LaVar, I got to tell you the truth. The biggest thing that motivates me every day is the ability for me to help somebody else.
Indeed.
I've been fortunate my whole life. My family, my dad. I've always had whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted it, whenever I needed it. Now, Dad taught us lessons along the way, but I never had to go somewhere with no money in my pocket. I never, and I don't take that for granted. So my life mission, whether it was me owning my race teams when I was racing back in the day, my biggest satisfaction probably should have been going to victory lane. I probably would have raced longer, but my biggest satisfaction was those 20 or 30 people that worked on that team,
that was your guys,
putting food on their table for their families. I feel the same way about our businesses today. I mentioned between the oil company and between Angie's and our businesses, about 300 employees. I get great satisfaction in being a part of giving them the opportunity to provide for their families in a way that my family provided for me.
Yeah.
So I love the day-to-day business. I love the interaction with my customers, those kind of things. But what really motivates me every day now is knowing how I can positively impact so many families.
Now, interesting that you say that, because Pace-O-Matic brought us together.
Sure.
And we're on this, as you mentioned earlier, this crusade together. And really, this whole scenario of skill games and getting it, past where these small businesses can benefit from these skill games has been something that has brought us together.
Sure.
That's you helping the common man. That's you helping small businesses. Just talk to me a little bit about where that passion came from, and how does that play into, your sports background?
Yeah. Well, for those who may be watching or listening for the first time that don't really, I'll give you a quick recap, but basically in our convenience stores, truck stops, and restaurants, since as long as I can remember, we've operated these skill games that are by and large produced and marketed by Pace-O-Matic. The Commonwealth of Virginia decided last April, they passed a law that went into effect that as of this past July 1, these games were banned in all of our facilities.
Okay.
So we decided, we meaning me on behalf of not only my business, but small business operators all across the Commonwealth and Senator Bill Stanley, we decided to take on the fight. We didn't think that was, not to mention constitutional, we didn't think it was ethical that the government could just come take away our business and give it to somebody else. And even though, I'm compassionate and I care about other people, things of that nature, I'm also very competitive. And I don't believe that, so when they came and just tried to take this away from me and my family and my employees and all that, I felt compelled to fight back. And so, once you, in the racing world, much like on the football field, is every man for himself. It's take no prisoners.
Sure.
And so part of that, because there's always somebody trying to take your spot, whether it's racing, whether it's football, whether it's somebody, and we met Jeff Jarrett. I know I've known Jeff my whole life. You met him a couple weeks ago. Same thing. You probably played some football games through injury and some other things.
Because you had to.
Because that next guy step up and do a good job. He's waiting.
Yes.
So I felt compelled to stand up and fight, not only on my behalf, but on behalf of many, many small business owners and operators across the state that didn't have the platform, didn't have the resources.
Right.
All those. My fight so far to get us to this point, it's cost me probably $750,000.
Wow.
To get to that point.
Yeah.
But we can't let them win by them having this thought process that they can pick winners and losers and dictate everyday small business American lives. So I feel confident that as we move forward, we're going to prevent at some point somebody in the government from trying to do the same thing again.
So in the world of sport, what you just discussed and talked about, that competitive nature, that team mentality, when I have conversations with legends, I ultimately love to know about where the greatness resonates from, what the greatness means, how is it executed. So where I'm at right now in this conversation is, it's all about branding. It's all about telling a story. It's all about how it's framed and how people feel when they hear about it. And you do an excellent job of presenting how you feel and how that applies. If I were to ask you, in the world of sports and athletes and fans alike that listen and look on, how do you view branding, and how important is branding to what you do and what you've been able to build?
LaVar, I'll be the first to admit, again, I keep correlating between racing and football.
Yes.
Okay, when I raced full time in the mid to late 90s, I was in my, I would call heyday, I guess you could say, there were 40 people on the track any given Sunday. It's probably 10,000 that were just as talented as I was, but didn't get that opportunity. Never got the opportunity, whether it be because of right place, right time, or not having the resources to kind of get your name out there a little bit, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I had an obligation, once I got out there, to take advantage of that opportunity. When it comes to branding, I haven't always done everything right, on or off the track. I'll be the first to admit. But I've always tried to surround myself with the right people, whether they be business associates, people in my social circles, and people I do business with. I don't do business with people that I don't have a good vibe. You go with your gut. Right. A lot of times, a lot of things. And how that's helped me today with this situation I'm in against the Commonwealth of, I'm suing the state that I live in,
right,
which is sad.
Out of necessity.
Out of necessity, because we never talked about this, but so the first major sponsor I had in NASCAR was the Virginia Tourism Corporation.
Okay.
Our statewide tourism slogan is Virginia is for lovers.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the first used to be, not anymore.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Right. They're not loving in Virginia
Probably for some lovers.
Okay.
Until you get older.
Right.
Then you just wish you were a lover. Yeah.
So Virginia is for I want to be a lover?
That's what it is for me.
But I'm not anymore?
It's for some lovers.
Okay. Virginia is for some lovers.
Virginia is for younger lovers.
Younger lovers.
LaVar, you're making this difficult for me.
Okay, I like it. I wanted to make it real awkward. I loved it.
Well, you're doing it.
Come on, let's do it.
So when I started, I was representing the state that I lived in,
yes,
the Virginia Tourism Corporation. We promoted the beaches, the mountains, everything in between. The last 22 years, I had a personal service contract with the Virginia Lottery. So I'm representing, for basically the bookends of my career,
right,
representing the state I live in. Then I got to turn around out of necessity and sue the Commonwealth of Virginia, the governor, and the Attorney General. I go back to what I was saying about branding. One of the reasons why I think among several, one of the reasons I think our lawsuits this far has been successful is because other people that have tried what Senator Stanley and I are trying, they've been able to pick apart the plaintiff.
Okay.
Pick apart, find something wrong and chop me down.
Right.
Okay. And discredit.
Yes.
They hadn't been able to chop me down.
All right.
Because I represented the Commonwealth of Virginia for most of my racing career.
Uh-huh.
One of the entities that's really against us keeping our games is the Virginia Lottery. Well, guess what? For 22 years, not only was I a retailer for the Virginia Lottery in all of my stores, but I was also a spokesperson for the Virginia Lottery.
Right.
So I'm getting information and emails and things from both sides.
Right.
So when they try to throw all this trash at me about what skill games are doing to the lottery, I know it's trash.
Right.
Because not only do I have the businesses and the information to back it up, but I've got the stuff. In other words, a senator may be on the Senate floor saying skill games are hurting the lottery. They're taking money away from schools. But my sales rep for the lottery that's dealing with my truck stop or convenience store is saying the reason lottery sales were down this month was because we just came off a $1 billion jackpot.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of people just play the lottery when you get,
Right.
they ain't gonna mess with it for 500 million.
Right.
But they'll buy for $1 billion.
Who wants 500 million? I mean,
If it gets to
we
$1
got to
billion,
go
they'll
big
play.
bucks. We got to
So
go big bucks.
I was getting all this stuff from, you know, so I could discredit them
Right.
in a way, but they really couldn't find a way, and they haven't yet, and they're still trying. They haven't been able to find a way to personally discredit me or my family or my business, and so that's what's given us some, you know, some legs with this lawsuit. And I did that through my entire. I turned down some rides at times in NASCAR. I turned down some sponsorship opportunities because either I knew something that made me uncomfortable dealing with them, or I knew how they had treated a friend of mine, maybe in the industry or whatever. Because I knew y'all run across these people too. Sometimes people show up on the scene in NASCAR and, oh, we got all this money, do all these great things, then 3 months later they're gone. You know, you put them on TV and talk about how great they are, and then next thing you know they're gone. And I'll be honest with you, if everybody that owed me money in NASCAR paid me, I'm sure you got these kind of things like this too.
All right, huh?
Skill games wouldn't matter as
Right.
much. But those are all life lessons that you learn. And, you know, so now I've been able to pick and choose my life, and especially later in my career, I could pick and choose
Yeah.
what I wanted to do, who I wanted to do it with. And as I've gotten older, and you mentioned my 3 daughters, now I know when I make decisions or make public statements or take public stances about things, they're all old enough now. They're on social media. They see what I say and what I do, and don't think that they'll let me know when they don't agree with. And that's important to me.
Sure.
You know, it's important for me to set that role model for them and take stands on things that I believe, whether it's appeasing to everybody or not. But I had a tremendous platform in my racing days that carried over to my business, that's carried over to my family, that is now carried over to this, I like your word, crusade. That you and I are both on. I never would have dreamed that I would be sitting at my restaurant in Emporia talking to LaVar Arrington about skill games and small business.
Yeah.
And I told you this the other day, and I mean it, so it's worth saying again. You come across as the kind of person that I can tell by the passion you speak with about this, that you see below the surface of what some of these government legislators are doing to small businesses, and that means, you know, they couldn't pay you enough money to get on TV and talk about it if it wasn't something that you really understood.
That's right.
Or bought into. You know, this is a bad precedent. You probably don't have any skill games personally anywhere in your
Right.
businesses.
That's correct. I don't.
But you understand that if we let this go,
It hurts.
What are they gonna do next?
Yes, and what's
and
next?
so, you know, you have
Right.
to fight.
Right.
And that's what we're doing.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how we named Faux Show. Do you mind?
Please tell me how you, because we're talking branding.
All right,
so tell me
this
how you
building,
named
this
Faux
building
Show.
we're in, my brother and I built it. This first half of the building was built for Starbucks.
Okay.
We built this building, did a 15-year lease with Starbucks. 2 years in, they call and say, you know what? Starbucks isn't really working in Emporia. We want to get out.
Oh, wow.
So I negotiated a buyout. We did all that, no problem. So I decided, I had this empty space with a drive-through on the side. I said, wouldn't it be great to have my own sports bar
With a drive-through window.
with a drive-through window?
Super, super unique.
So it's all well and good for me because I don't work here. But my wife cusses me 5 out of 7 nights a week for thinking that we needed to be in the restaurant business.
Right.
But anyway, when we came time to decide we were going to do it, I was trying to come up with a name. So, and we've been here right at 12 years now.
Okay.
So I go online and I start looking for Hermie Sadler this, Hermie Sadler that. as it relates to restaurant. Much like, again, I'm sure with LaVar Arrington, when I went in, everything related or regarding my name, somebody had already trademarked it. In just about every genre of everything, because they wanted me to have to call them
And pay for it. Yes.
And I just won't want to do that. Although I did spend about 30 grand to get HermieSadler.com. Somebody had bought that, and it was a porn site.
Oh, wow.
So that
Hermie Sadler, adult entertainer.
it wasn't pleasant.
That's interesting.
We did get that back.
All
so
right.
anyway,
and you switched that up. You changed
switched
it
that
up.
up.
You cleaned it up.
I cleaned a little bit.
Okay.
It used
Kept
to be,
it a little
used to
edgy.
be X, and now I'd say
Now it's
R minus.
R. It
Maybe
was
R
triple
plus, depending on how you
X.
look at it.
But
Now
now
it's X and a half.
single X.
X and a half.
X and a half.
As you get older and you become less relevant, you got to spice things up a little bit to keep
So
attention.
you got to have that half of an X.
You got to have the half X.
Wow.
See, I'm learning you something. There you go.
I mean, you just blew my mind, Hermie.
So
All right.
I'm trying to think of a name. Everything Hermie Sadler is taken. So I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, racing in Phoenix. We're racing on Sunday, but I get done with practice on Saturday. I'm leaving, getting ready to go play golf after I practice that day with Charles Barkley and a guy named Scott Williams that played college
Scotty
basketball
Williams?
at
Yeah,
UNC
Carolina.
and played
With
the
Michael
Bulls.
Jordan. Yeah, sure.
All right, so Scott's a good friend of mine. So I'm
He's
supposed
tall.
to be there,
He's very tall.
Hacienda Heights, California.
Yes.
It's
You know,
6'11".
Hacienda Heights is an interesting place.
I've heard.
Okay.
So I'm supposed to be there, let's just say, we're supposed to play golf at 3 o'clock. By the time I got through practicing and did all my debriefs with my crew chief and stuff, I was late leaving the racetrack.
All right.
So I text Scott and said, I'm getting ready to leave the racetrack. I'm going to be about 30 minutes late. He just texted me back, faux show. That was his answer.
For sure.
So I said, damn, that's pretty catchy.
Uh-huh.
So I immediately called my trademark
It's
attorney
for
at the time.
show available.
I said, can you check to see if faux show is available for restaurant services? He said, it's available. I said, copyright it, trademark it. He did it right then, and so I called my wife. I said, I just named the restaurant,
For show.
faux show. And people like, what does it mean as it relates to a restaurant? I said, not a damn thing. But I liked it. It's kind of an urban,
It is. It's an urban feel.
And I said,
You can't go so fast when you say it though. You gotta break it up. Faux show.
there you go.
You know, for
so
show.
Scott Williams, of all the great three NBA titles and all that,
I'm sure
but
he
his
said-
biggest claim to fame
was naming this
he named
restaurant.
this restaurant.
I'm sure he said for show dough.
Yeah. And
You
the
know
other
what I mean?
piece of
Now,
advice
you
I'll
couldn't
give you.
put that on there. That for show works, but I guaranteed he uses dough after. For show dough.
I'm gonna ask him that.
Okay, all right, there we go.
And the other thing I'll
All
give
right.
you out of that story, and then we'll move on, is don't take golf lessons from Charles Barkley.
Don't do that. You don't want to do
Or
that.
don't try to sit at a blackjack table and play blackjack with
You
Charles
don't want to
Barkley.
do that either because they use chip colors.
got a
that I've
bigger
never
line of
seen in
credit
my
than I got.
I've never seen those chips before in my life, and I got a few coins in my pocket. I ain't never seen that
Hey.
color. They were different colored chips.
Coming from a small town like Emporia, I've had many how did I get here moments in my life. One of them was we were in Vegas. We started off, my brother and I and Dale Jarrett, 3 racers, went to the Bellagio and they went to this VIP room to play blackjack. Before I knew it, it was my brother and I and Dale Jarrett, Mark Cuban, Roger Clemens,
Wow,
Vince Vaughn,
wow,
and Charles Barkley.
wow.
So about 2 o'clock in the morning, when I think it's time to wind down, they're winding up. So we ended up at a after hours establishment. But we're riding in Vegas in this big limo. Me and my brother from Emporia, Virginia. You've seen it. There it
After
is.
hours, 1X or after hour multiples?
I'm gonna say about as high as you can get.
Okay, wow.
Whatever the maximum allowable by law amount of
law.
X's.
Wow.
So, but we're riding in this limo through Vegas, and it's me and my brother from Emporia, Dale Jarrett. I think Clint Boyer was with us, but Mark Cuban, Roger Clemens, Vince Vaughn. That's when the Wedding Crashers had just come out. Mark Cuban and Dennis Haskins. He was Mr. Belding.
Wow.
On Saved by the Bell.
Belding, yeah.
Mr. Belding had a white handkerchief, and all he did all night was pat Charles's head down for the sweat rolling down. You know, just kept him dry. Kept him dry. But I was one of my Elliot. What the hell are we doing?
How did we get up here?
Because when we start having, when we start pulling up the cards,
Yeah.
we short. But the other part of that story, so sometime in the middle of the night, we went to Jet nightclub at Bellagio.
Okay.
And I'm with all these heavy hitters, billionaires, right?
Mm-hmm.
I turn around and look about 4 o'clock in the morning. The little lady with the little bunny rabbit suit on is bringing me the bill.
Oh, wow.
All my brother and everybody like, where's everybody? They done gone on to the next stop. They gave me the bill, and this happened to be Hollie Madison's birthday party that night. So Hollie Madison, every time you ordered a bottle of Cristal, she brought it down off a zip line.
Oh, wow.
So it was like $2,000 every time she bought it, and we didn't even break the top on none of them. But every time the little girl came by and said, "You need another bottle?" What did we say?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So this guy, young lady, so 4 o'clock in the morning Vegas time is 7 o'clock in the morning Emporia time.
Oh, no.
Gives me a bar tab for about $17,000.
Oh, no.
So I'm pulling out my credit card and I'm not even worried about anything else. I'm not even worried about the $17,000. I'm worried about this bank. The fraud alert's gonna go off.
Oh, easily.
And they're gonna call my wife, who's back at home in Virginia, at 7 o'clock in the morning. And she's gonna have a list of questions for me
and
that I probably can't answer.
Not
gonna be able to answer.
You're not gonna be able to answer.
And that's exactly what happened. So the lady comes over there. First of all, I had no idea what my limits are on my credit card.
It
But I had
wasn't
to
that.
try.
It wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't that. And even if it were, you were
So
going
I'm
to still
thinking,
have to call
who do I
in.
know at the bank that I can call and get a credit limit increase
Right.
at 7 o'clock in the morning? Anyway, so my wife, who's right around the corner there, I hope she's not listening, she called me. Her first question, of course, was, what the
WTF.
are you doing?
Right.
It's 7 o'clock in,
WTF.
hey, it's only 4 o'clock here.
Right.
Not 7. And plus, there's no clocks in Vegas.
It's
I didn't
only
know.
4 o'clock.
I thought it was 9 o'clock at night. I
Right.
didn't know.
Who
And,
loses? I mean, you lose
I said,
track of time
and we
in
had
Vegas.
a terrible misunderstanding. When it came time to pay the bill, I was the only one left. I couldn't walk out on the bill, right?
Everybody else did.
They gone.
They're gone.
They gone. Now, in full disclosure, they all made it right.
Okay.
But I had to not only endure,
That was a stressful moment.
and look,
Anxiety.
the 17 grand was no tip. So I had to add a tip.
17, 10% is a
1,700.
1,700,
3,500. But you can't get by on 20% in Vegas, though.
You got to go higher?
You got to go higher
So
than
it's
that.
like
If you want to go back,
5,000?
if you want the booth by the DJ table next time.
So like 4,000 or 5,000?
Yeah.
So you were now up to
I was north of
$22,000
north of 22.
for a night out with those
And we didn't even
people.
drink the Cristal. This has nothing to do with us having a Legends conversation, by the way.
No, this is a Legends conversation, by the way.
I was not a
This
legend.
is all the way
I was
a
not a
Legends conversation.
I was not a legend with my wife at that time.
No, you were.
I was an idiot.
You were that too. But most times, legends are idiots.
You know what
at
I told
times.
her? That you can try this with your wife sometime. When she brings back stuff that you may or may not have done back in the day,
Yeah.
all you have to say is, it was the thing to do at the time.
You know what? Can I add something to that?
Sure.
It was the right thing to do
Right.
at the time.
Right.
How about that?
I felt obligated.
I mean, you feel better
See,
about yourself.
I didn't make the decision to go to those places.
Right.
But I couldn't leave my brother with all those strangers.
Because those strangers left y'all.
I mean, people
with
we didn't
your
know,
brother.
like Mark Cuban.
Right.
These people could be shady.
Well, they left out with the tab at $17,000.
Brokest one in the bunch, me.
Man.
Brokest one in the bunch. I couldn't get out of there.
That's a legend. That might be the most.
It's not the kind of legend I'm trying to be on the show, but
that might be the most legendary conversation. That might be the most legendary story I've heard on this show.
But
thus
you need
far.
to, if you ever get a chance to go out with Mark and Charles and
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Vince Vaughn,
I don't want. I have
settle
no.
up with them straight beforehand, because you mess around and come up short.
I don't want to do that.
But I tell you what,
I don't want that pressure.
I had
on
fun
me.
there.
You had fun.
I never paid so much money for liquor I didn't drink.
Tell me your best. Is that your best? I don't. That's off field. Tell me your best NASCAR memory.
Well, nothing replaces your first win.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a little story about my first win. I'm not talking about big time NASCAR win, but I'll tell you about my first NASCAR weekly racing series win,
Okay.
first late model stock car win. So I had won the World Karting Championship, finally decided to move up into late models, running in what we call the Mid-Atlantic region, around Virginia and North Carolina, tracks around here. I had run, I wasn't running very well, and my dad is super duper competitive.
Okay.
And my dad always had the mindset of, you got everything you need. I don't want any excuses. But I had run through a spell of races, had never won yet.
Sound familiar, by the way. I think I heard that during this interview with your
My
daughter.
brother and my daughter.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
So I had raced on Friday night right over in Richmond, Virginia at Southside Speedway. Ran terrible. My dad even came to the racetrack that night, and we had Sadler Chevrolet, the car dealership, advertised on the car. He was over there trying to pull my
it
name
off
the car. If you ain't gonna run no better than this,
You ain't gonna have
take
my name on there.
It's my name too, but it didn't matter.
No, I gave you that name.
So
All
he's
right.
over there trying to pull off the stickers.
That is hilarious.
So he told me when the race was over at Southside, it was not hilarious, LaVar. It was
That
embarrassing.
Well, for you,
Embarrassing.
but that's
Hilarious.
kind of funny though.
I can laugh about
Your
it
daddy
now.
was trying to pull your name
But
off
look,
of the car. That's
so
pretty good.
When we loaded the car up that night, he told me, he said, far as I'm concerned, you're done.
Jeez,
So I came home on Friday night.
upset.
So what are we gonna do now? Me and my guys got back to the shop like at 2 o'clock in the morning. So kind of like most of the bad racing days I had my whole career. It took me about 24 hours, morning period.
You mourn.
Morning, don't want to talk to nobody.
Your ego died.
Then I come back.
Purgatory.
What's next?
Okay.
So my guy, we got back to the shop like 2 a.m. after my dad telling me, basically in all intents and purposes, my sponsor pulled the plug on me. So we get back to the shop Saturday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and my guys are like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Finally, I said, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through this car and set it up again, put it on the scales, and we're going tomorrow night to Manassas, Virginia, to Old Dominion Speedway to race. They said, we are? I said, we are. So we didn't really have any money to buy tires. So we all, including my crew guys, we threw in enough money to go to buy the tires for the next night. I was embarrassed to tell my dad that I was going to race the next night because he had told me I was done.
You're done, right?
So I didn't even call my dad. I called my mom. I didn't call her until I was already. We left like at 8 o'clock in the morning. We worked all night, got the car back ready, left and went north to Manassas, Virginia. So we've been practicing. So I called my mom.
Were you
They had
tired running?
bag phones back in, the little
Right,
bag phones.
yeah.
I called my mom. She said, "Where are you?" I said, "Don't tell my dad, but we're at Old Dominion Speedway in Manassas. I'm gonna race tonight. If I'm gonna quit, I don't want to quit after last night." So we go, we practice, we qualify. I'd never been to that track before. I won the race. We get ready to pull around to go to Victory Lane to take pictures in Victory Lane, and guess who showed up?
Your dad.
My mom and dad.
Nice.
They came, drove all the way up there, got there just in time
Did
for
he
the
have the
race to
sticker
start.
with Sadler? Was he putting the sticker back on
Takes
the
more
car?
than one win to get the stickers back on.
Oh,
We lost a lot, only won one.
I hear
But,
you.
but my dad, of all the hard lessons and the hard-nosed person that he was,
He
he's
was
like,
happy for you.
he went up there. Now, I never knew he was out, and watched the race from the stands and came down. And even though it took him a while to be okay with the fact that we went,
Yes.
I could tell
He was
happy,
you did
and
it.
then that ultimately set me up, to move forward. And I hit rock bottom, I guess you could say, as far as the racing concerned. That was a humbling beginning for me. I win all these kart races, win a WK championship, getting a stock car, and can't hit myself in the ass with both hands.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of lessons quick.
Yeah.
And but that kind of set me on, and then I went on to win a fair amount of races after that.
Love it. That's legendary stuff. I'm gonna hit you with this one, and then we're done.
You tired of me already?
No.
Hey, how about one more toast?
Come on. Let's touch it up one more time. Here you go.
I like the way we do shows, LaVar.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we
should
could be
something.
we could be the best we've ever seen.
I got to tell you, these are the best stories I've heard. You guys with me on that? These got to be the best stories I done heard. What does Hermie Sadler want his legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered by when you no longer exist and somebody comes up to give an account of who you were and what you represented in your life? What will have you sitting somewhere listening and proud of what it is they had to say?
LaVar, I've been so fortunate and lucky. I told you some of my stories.
Yes.
Never would have dreamed that I have been the places I've been, met the people I've met, such as yourself.
Thank you.
But if there's one thing I'd like for people to say when I'm no longer there, is that a couple things. That I was a good friend to a lot of people, and I've always been lucky. I said this before. Always been fortunate to have the basic necessities that I needed. I would like for people to also think that I put other people's needs in a lot of cases before mine. I've really tried to
Awesome.
Be that way.
Yeah.
When at all possible.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to live that way and be that way. But I feel like, and I hope you feel the same way in certain regards, we're put in positions, in situations for a reason, I believe.
Absolutely.
So
it has to be who it is.
It has to be a reason why some of these things have happened.
It can't be anybody else other than you.
It's got to be us for this. And you met my middle daughter Haley earlier today. She's autistic.
Extraordinary.
So for the last 20 years, and I say this to somebody, and I mean this to be the positive. I said, when she was first diagnosed, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get her to be like me. And I finally realized, LaVar, when the light went off, Hermie, you need to be more like her.
Amen.
So she is happiest with
keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
With the just the basic, and she wakes up happy every morning. So if I feel like people will think that I was a good friend to the ones that I could be, and as long as I could take care of my family, I've always tried to help other people take care of what their wants and needs are, and I think that's carried me a long way towards where I am, and I'll continue to do that.
What are the chances we get Haley to come say goodbye to the camera?
I don't know where she is.
Haley, you want to come say goodbye? She doesn't want to be in the show.
Just real quick, just come say goodbye. Come here 1 second.
We might get Haley to come say goodbye on the show, and that would be so amazing. She's a superstar. Superstar. You know, comes to just say goodbye on the show.
This is Haley. Come here. Come here. I'm supposed to come say goodbye. Please.
It was close. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We tried.
We tried.
So on behalf of Haley.
On behalf of Haley and the rest of the Sadler family, Pace-O-Matic, Up On Game presents. You've been blessed with another legendary moment and a legendary conversation with my man, Hermie Sadler. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you check us out. We're here every week. It's Hermie Sadler, everybody. NASCAR great, businessman, man of the people.
Well,
Till next time.
Thank you.
Hey. Appreciate
Appreciate
you,
it. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right.